up, YouTube? This is Mike from Mass. My channel is Mass Aquariums. And in this video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to control algae in your aquarium. Now, when I say control, I say that because most tanks have some algae, and I want to give you some tips on how to keep it to a minimum or get rid of it completely with the research and the videos and everything I've done and what works with my tanks. Now, everybody's tanks are different. Everybody has low light plants, high light plants, no plants. So I'm going to show you what works with my tank, and I hope it'll help you out. Now, first, let's talk about how you get algae in your aquarium. Algae will feed off excess nutrients that the plants don't take in, excess light. Algae loves light, and if you have too much of one or both of those, you could potentially have a lot of algae. Now, a few things I do to keep those in check is I have my lights on a timer, which if you have a planted tank, I think it's really important. You don't have to worry about if you're out having a good time, coming home and making sure your lights get shut off. You put them on a timer, you run them for anywhere. What I think is good is between 6 and 10 hours. A lot of things you read are going to say you can leave them 12, 14 hours, but I think you're just asking for trouble. What works with my tank is I have my timer set for 8.5 hours. You know, it's a good number. It's on in the morning. I feed the fish. I can take a look at the tank, and it goes off whether I'm at work or wherever I am. And the tank shuts down for the light, and you know, it works good in my tank. Nutrients. I have dirt substrate. It has a lot of nutrients. There's a lot of things that people dose. Root tabs. I dose root tabs in my 30 because I have gravel substrate. I do dose API leaf zone in both my tanks. Now, this tank, it's a 75, so it's rather big for the dosing. So they recommend for this tank, you know, almost 70 mLs of leaf zone per week. Now, I don't like to dose it, you know, once a week. You dump all those nutrients in. The plant's not going to be able to take care of that all at once, and you know, you're asking for trouble because all that excess nutrients, you know, you're going to get some algae. So what I like to do is I like to take that and spread it out over the week. So if you're dosing any type of fertilizer or, you know, nutrients for your plants, try to spread it out over the week. It seems to work really well. A little bit here, a little bit there, and you know, that should go good for your plants. They're going to take it in, and you're not going to have that excess around in the tank that the plants can't take care of, and which algae will love to feed off of. So they have excess nutrients. Then if your lights are on too long, then they have the light, and you know, then it just goes everywhere. Now, there's all sorts of types of algae. There's algae that is in your water. There's algae that is on your glass, that forms on your plants, on your wood, hair algae. You know, there's all sorts of algae. So, with everything you do with a fish tank, the most important thing you can do is water changes. No matter how much research or how many videos you watch, you can tell that a constant in all that is water changes. The fish love it, plants love it, it's great for your tank. I recommend, at the very least, you do a 25 to 30% water change once a week. I try to do 30% once a week and a 50% once a week. So I try to do two water changes in all my tanks once a week. You can get away with doing a 25-30% every other week, and you know, see what happens. And like I said, everybody's aquarium is different. If it works for you, stick with what's working for you. I'm just giving you some tips on what works for me, and I hope it helps you out. If you do have algae, let's talk about a few things to get rid of algae. Obviously, everybody wants to run to the fish store, get some Siamese algae eaters, get some plecos, some shrimp, you know, whatever research they do, whatever's going to eat the algae right away. I don't like to have any of that in my tank. with my experience, if once those fish get rid of the algae, then they have nothing to eat, and then they start eating the fish food for the fish, gnawing on your wood, eating your plants, and if you don't start feeding them, algae wafers or supplementing the algae that they've already gotten rid of, that's just more fish, more waste. So I try to steer clear from buying the algae eaters to take care of your problem. What I recommend is try to diagnose why you're getting the algae. Are your lights running too long? Are you overfeeding your fish? Are you overdosing your nutrients? Try to cut back on a few of those things before you run off to the store and buy all these fish that are going to eat the algae. Another thing you can do is make sure when you do your water changes, you clean your glass, clean the light if you have glass tops, or if you have that plastic plexiglass underneath your light. Take your hoods off, clean them all off, get all the algae off that. You're not going to be able to get all of it off, but use a paper towel, wipe the glass down. It helps with the light penetrating through the glass for your plants, and it gets a lot of algae off. So when you do your water change, do the whole works, do the whole maintenance. Clean your glass, clean your hoods, everything. So, a lot of people do like to have the pleco. I have one pleco. I got him a long time ago. He's huge. Now, he does take care of the wood. He does take care of, he's on the glass once in a while, but he doesn't do a whole lot. And I don't have any other algae eaters in my tank. A lot of people like shrimp tanks, little nano shrimp tanks, they're fun to watch. The Siamese algae eater, I do think is a great algae eater, probably the best out there, but once the algae's gone in your tank, you're going to have to feed him regular fish food. And when they get older, 4 to 6 inches, they're going to stop eating algae and they're just going to look for food. Now, if you like the way they look and you want them in your tank, go ahead and buy some. But after a little while, they're going to stop eating algae and they're going to just want the food that you're feeding your regular fish. And that's more waste, and do you really need them in your tank? Focus on why you have algae, and try to control the algae before you go try to get a cleanup crew to take care of it. What I do is, if I do have some algae, I've done a lot of research, and this seems to work the best, and it does not harm your fish, is hydrogen peroxide. You can get it at Target, Walmart, wherever, CVS, Walgreens. It's 99 cents, $1.50, and it will not harm your fish. Now, you don't just want to take this and dump it in your tank. That's not going to work. So what you do is you put it in a tiny spray bottle like this, and you literally spray it right where the algae is. Now, when I got my spider driftwood in a few months ago, once it sank, it had some white hair algae on it. Now, I didn't panic and go buy a bunch of fish. I just did my research, and I got some hydrogen peroxide, and I literally dumped this spray bottle right in the tank, and you just spray right on the algae. It's safe for your fish, it's safe for the plants. If some of my Ludwigia, it looks like it has a little algae on it, or maybe, you see your jungle val, or whatever kind of plants you have, if it looks like it's starting to get a little algae, you just go right in, you spray all your plants. Just don't be afraid to overload it. Just spray them right on the wood, spray it on the plants, spray it everywhere. 1-2 days of doing that once a day, your algae is going to be gone. It works for me. I hope it works for you. Comment if it hasn't worked for you, but everything seems to be working good for me. So, that's it. That's how I take care of algae. That's how I try to control algae and prevent it. Keep your lights down. Keep your nutrients down. Don't overfeed your fish. And don't panic if you do have algae. Hydrogen peroxide works great, and it doesn't harm your fish. And, if it's out of control, you're doing something wrong, and no matter how many fish you buy or what type of cleanup crew you get, they're not going to be able to take care of it all. And if they do happen to take care of it of all the algae, then what do? You got no algae, and what are they going to eat? They're going to eat your fish food, and they're going to produce more waste, and it's just going to, in the long run, you're going to have more fish in your tank that you don't want for your algae, that there's no algae left. When you don't have any room for your angels or your rainbows or your rams, your cichlids, whatever you're keeping. So that's what I do, and I hope this helps you out. Not everybody's aquarium's the same, but this is what works for me. And comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, and I hope this works for you. So good luck with controlling or preventing your algae. This is Mike from Mass, and I'm out.